So here's a little how-to video on how to do splatter paint. First thing, you need to pick out the paint colors that you choose. I'm going with a teal, copper color, and black. The important thing is that you don't just use straight paint. What you're going to do is you kind of half and half water and paint. So I'm going to fill my cup up with water and stir paint into it. The more water you have is going to dilute the paint colors a little bit more, which means that it'll be, when it dries, it'll be a little bit more of a thin watercolor instead of a bright, vibrant color of that paint. So you just need to make sure that you are completely stirring your water and paint mixture, otherwise you'll have chunks that kind of fly off your paintbrush. So I'm going to do that for a second. Okay, the next thing is you're going to need a space that can get splattered. So for this, I just have a box with a piece of newsprint, which is just kind of a piece of paper that's thin that I don't care if I get messy. You might want to just set up a space if you're doing this outside. Putting some tarps down or doing it on the grass usually is fine. In this case, I'm in the classroom, so I kind of need a little separate space for this. And I'm going to put my paper down, but I also want to kind of just do a little something different with my paper because I don't want it just to be my paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quick cut it and make my initials. Maybe I'll start with just one letter. I'm going to set it down below. And now, when we splatter, I'm going to start with my lightest color first. And this might have a different texture than the other ones because I mixed it up already. So it's not dripping off at all. But the important thing is, if it's dripping, there's a good technique of just like swizzling it. So like stirring cake batter like this. And that's going to make more of a dot look. Otherwise, if you fill up your paintbrush and lean, so I'm bending down right now so that I can get at an angle where my hand is facing upwards, and I'm just going to do a quick flick. And that will create more of the line texture art. So I'm moving my body around the box. I'm not staying in one spot so that I can get different angles. And I'm not winding up behind me, I'm just going straight forward. You know, like Harry Potter. I'm gonna take my second color and remix it up. Now this one's a little bit more drippy. So like if you can see, it's dripping down into the container, which means if I load up my paintbrush with the paint and I just stir, like I'm stirring a cake, it'll drip really nicely. I can also flick. The thinner the paint is, the more it will splatter. And last but not least, this one's juicy too. So I'm going to do the same thing. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up by the areas that weren't touched and put this somewhere to dry. There we go, splatter art.